All is fair. Epilogue. The other fate. I slept with my special knife under my pillow. It took a lot of willpower not to touch it too often, or Greg would never be in peace. The weeks leading up to Blastfest were the most difficult. I knew that I would see him again, but at the same time I was afraid that I wouldn't. On the Friday evening before the concert, I heard a commotion outside. I peeked through the blinds and saw emergency personnel gathered in the parking lot. The paramedics seemed oblivious to the person leaning against a tree less than 10 feet away from them. My key vibrated and became uncomfortably hot. Using my faerie vision, I noticed that the person wasn't a person at all. It was a Grim Reaper. It is against fairy law to interfere with the reaping. All mortals have to die one day, we are told. The young, the old, the good, the bad, the rich, and the poor. I wasn't close to any of my neighbors, but I had spoken to all of them on at least one occasion. It seemed wrong to not even try to find out who was headed to the beyond. I opened my door and whistled to get the attention of the Reaper. Fairy whistles are too high-pitched for human ears to detect. Now one of the paramedics and nosy people standing around watching heard it. The Reaper pulled his hood off and I almost fainted. It was a former friend of mine. Braden hadn't found his soulmate. He wouldn't say if he'd actually tried to. He stared at me with a blank expression on his face, then turned his attention to the person on the gurney. It was an elderly woman who lived several doors down from my apartment. Braden walked through the crowd and touched poor old Margaret on the arm. The paramedics tried in vain to resuscitate her. I watched as her soul left her body and followed Braden down the path to the beyond. I witnessed firsthand the other fate of a fairy who failed to find their soulmate. When I went back inside, I grabbed the knife from under my pillow and kissed it. I hoped that I wasn't being a pest to Greg, but I was more grateful for him than he knew. My excitement for the next day was magnified. In the meantime, I tried to distract myself, but to no avail. Rain didn't stop the crowd from gathering for Blastfest. I sat in my folding chair with water running down my face and neck. My hair was sticking to my head and my clothes were soaked all the way through. It had been over 100 degrees and humid all week, so the rain was a welcome relief. When I first arrived, I scanned the crowd to see if I caught a glimpse of Greg, but too many people were in view. The show ended just after 10 at night. I had my keys in hand to unlock the door of my convertible when I felt a hand on my back. "Spread your wings," Greg said in my ear. I turned around and my heart sped up. He looked the same way I remembered. Most people would probably classify him as cute. "I already got us a room. Is that okay with you?" "Perfect," I said. "I was afraid you wouldn't come." "Had to pull some strings first, but I came, and you will too." He winked and both of us smiled. The last time I'd seen him, he'd only been a husband. Being a father was a totally different matter. It made no difference to me either way. He was the glue that kept my heart in one piece. When we got to our room, we hung our clothes over the chairs in the kitchenette. "Hopefully those will be dry in a few hours," Greg said. "A few? How many is a few?" He picked me up and wrapped my legs around his waist. "However many you want it to be. More than a few, if you can manage it." Greg sat down on the bed and lay back. I'm still waiting. I knew exactly what he meant. I smiled and spread my wings.